Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, reported that consumer prices declined by 0.3% in April of 2026. According to the latest Consumer Price Index report, the decline was mainly driven by lower electricity rates, which contributed to a 4.3% fall in the index for category housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. Statin advised that the group, electricity, gas, and other fuels recorded a significant 12.5% decline during the month. However, the overall reduction in consumer prices was partially offset by higher food and transportation costs. The Food and Non-Alcoholic Beverages Division increased 0.6%, mainly due to higher prices for agricultural produce, including ripe banana, orange, and watermelon. Meanwhile, the Transport Division rose by 1.1% because of increased petrol prices. Statin says Jamaica's point-to-point inflation rate as of April 26 stood at 4.3%. For the quarter ending March 31, 2026, Burita posted operating revenue of $3.7 billion, a 72% jump over the same period last year. This was driven by a 154% increase in gains on investment activities and growth in net interest income. Burita's group chairman, Mark Myers, who is also the chairman of the KFC franchise in Jamaica, said, and I quote, "Burita delivered a materially stronger second quarter performance in financial year 2026 with clear improvement across the group's core earnings drivers. With increased platform scale, Burita is better positioned to pursue cross-selling opportunities and realize synergies across investment management, wealth management, and pension services." Myers added, and I quote, "We are strengthening profitability through business line optimization, revenue mix refinement, sharper asset management performance, and tighter cost discipline." Myers continued and stated that performance from our alternative investments portfolio continues to be anchored by the real estate platform, which we view as a long-term strategic growth pillar of the group. He notes that work continues at Burita's Harbor Street and Eden Gardens properties in Kingston. It recently appointed Bernard Stoker, CEO of its real estate portfolio. Burita also holds 100 acres in St. Anne, significant real estate assets in that parish, and plans to develop high-end residencies there. For the trading period of May 15, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Wigton Energy Limited with 5,040,706 units, representing 17.67% of market sales activities. Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 4,481,115 units, representing 15.71% of market sales activities. Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 2,070,739 units, representing 7.26% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in solar energy, finance, and transportation plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for May 15, 2026. Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $157.30 and buying at $159.03. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by 34-cent transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $115.78 and was bought for $115.44. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $2.39 in profits for the bank. The British pound sold for $213.08 and was bought for $210.69. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, consider credit as the engine of life design. And we're going to talk about how your credit profile shapes health, career, family, retirement, and lifestyle. Because most people think of credit as something you only deal with when buying a car or applying for a loan. In reality, your credit score and credit report function more like a personal life access system that quietly influences the quality, speed, and cost of nearly every major decision you make. From housing and healthcare options to business opportunities and retirement flexibility, credit is not just financial, it's structural. It affects how much freedom you actually have to design the life you want. So credit is not just borrowing, it's access. A credit report is essentially your financial track record. It tells lenders, institutions, and sometimes even employers how reliably you manage obligation. A credit score then compresses that history into one number, which is your credit score, that determines whether you're approved or declined, the interest rate you receive, the size of the opportunities made available to you, and the cost of accessing those opportunities. In simple terms, credit determines how expensive or accessible your next step in life will be. For our funded and focused feature, right now we live in a world where AI agents can now act like a lean operating team, drafting content, managing workflows, analyzing data, even supporting customer engagement. That shift has lowered the people barrier to starting and scaling a business. But there is a second barrier that hasn't changed as quickly, and that's capital. For the solopreneur, the question is no longer, can I build this alone? AI says you can. The real question is, where do I get the fuel to turn this into an asset-building business? So let's break that down clearly. In the solopreneur reality, you're building two things at once. As a solopreneur, you're simultaneously building a business that generates income, and then a system that converts income into assets. So AI agents help with the execution on the business side, but capital determines speed, scale, and staying power. Without funding, most solopreneurs stay stuck in a cycle of work, then earn, then reinvest, then repeat. But when you get funding, the cycle changes. You build leverage, then scale, then asset creation. So the real question becomes, what funding pathways exist for solo businesses today? Because ultimately the goal is not just to earn from your business, it's to turn your effort into something that compounds beyond your time. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital markets and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.